Today's devotion is called Blessing with Our Blessings. We're on February 19th, day 50, and today's morning rinse is Deuteronomy 12 through 15. I will want to say this, that in order for us to finish at a good place at the end of February or whatever day you're following, and as well as ending with reading the Bible through in a year, there are some books that we have to kind of scrunch together, and Deuteronomy is one of them. So there's going to be 4 chapters to read pretty much, I think, in the entirety of Deuteronomy. So 4 chapters every single day, and that will help us stay on track. So I know that it's a lot for this few weeks or however many days it is for Deuteronomy, but I just want to encourage you to keep at it. It's an exciting book, and we will glean a lot from it. So go ahead and read the morning rinse, Deuteronomy 12 through 15, and come on back and we will talk about the featured verses. So the featured verses include Deuteronomy 15, 10, and 11. You shall generously give to him, and your heart shall not be grieved when you give to him, because for this thing the Lord your God will bless you in all your work and in all your undertakings. For the poor will never cease to be in the land. Therefore I command you, saying, you shall freely open your hand to your brother, to your needy and poor in your land. So I love all of the chapters in the book of Deuteronomy that lead up to when the Israelites take over the promised land. These chapters are so full of instructions from Moses as he prepares them for the life that is ahead. And while the people heard his teachings of faith and trust in the wilderness for 40 years, and while they received the 10 Commandments and were corrected on many behaviors, Moses' Sermon on the Mount before the actual takeover of the Promised Land was like this crescendo. I mean, he covered so many things for the Israelites. Now, a lot of those instructions were applicable to them specifically. Like if you look at chapter 15, verse 1, it says, at the end of every 7 years, you shall grant a remission of debts. Well, I don't know of any debt company or any bank, or quite frankly, I don't know of any individual who has loaned money out that at the end of 7 years, they basically wipe that away. I don't know if that was a custom back then that or it was an instruction specifically from Moses that became a custom, or if it was a custom that he reignited. I don't know all of those details, but I know that that's one specific thing that I look around America. I don't even know if it's done globally anywhere. I don't know if Israel does that right now to this day. That's information I don't know, but there are certain instructions that Moses gave to the Israelites on that mountain that we read about and have been reading about, and we'll read a little bit more about that tomorrow in the morning rinse, that just don't apply or haven't applied in our lives. But there are some that we can absolutely glean from for ourselves today. So can you imagine the stirring in their hearts as Moses continually delivered these key messages to them? I mean, his words prepared them for that final positioning to claim the promised land. You can almost feel the anticipation leaping off the pages of the Bible. If you go back and read it, you can literally feel the anticipation because he's kind of coming to the end. And along with all of these reminders of how to behave, he also reminds them to not fear and to remember that God will do the fighting as they go forward. There's that battled song that we sing in church, God is for us, who can be against us? And he's continually reminding them, they are commanded as well to help the poor with their increase. They were already told that the blessing available to them and to us is 1,000-fold increase. We talked about that on February 16th. But God wanted again to reiterate that he does not give an increase for selfish gain. Don't get me wrong, God loves to bless his children and he enjoys us having nice things, but we are also expected to give freely to those in need. In this sermon, Moses stated a commandment saying for us to use some of our blessings to help the poor and needy. God gives us more than we ask for or even think about. And from what we receive, he expects us to be good stewards of the gift, including blessing the poor from our blessing. This can make people a little uncomfortable. I'm not talking about people who make super unwise financial decisions and continually come to you and ask for more money and more money and more money when they are not making wiser choices to get out of situations. I'm not talking about that scenario. I'm talking about, say you come across a mom at church one day. She's a single mom and is a little tight on funds and needs to get a new battery for her car. She has a need, and maybe she's on a very, very tight budget, and you hear about that need, and you say, you know what? I'm going to buy that battery for her and pay for it to be installed. That's happened to me. I was a single mom for 7 years, and I know what it's like to try and live managing a hushold by yourself. And what about the widows? Those widows who spent decades with a husband over them. And I'm speaking females, but there's also widowers. But somebody who might need something, what about maybe just needing a companion? If you're blessed with an increase in some extra time on your hands, then maybe take one out to lunch. It doesn't have to be a financial increase. You can be increased in multiple ways. But there's a mentality and an acceptance and really being that good steward. Because when we are blessed, we should be open to blessing other people. And that's what I'm talking about with the title of this, Blessing with Our Blessings. When we are blessed and have an increase ourselves, then some of that increase can go to blessing other people. Now, you will have to just pray and seek God on this because, there's some people who are super tight and they're not great stewards of their own finances, but yet they give everything away. And that is between you and God. I'm talking about blessing with our blessings. We have an increase, and that's what God has been talking to us about over the last couple of days. And if we have an increase and we have maybe set aside a little bit of offering, that offering can go to anything of your choosing. It's above and beyond the tithing. I had a friend tell me once that he had a friend who would go to the mall at Christmas time with 10 $100 bills. And he would walk around the mall and he would just pray and ask God who he wanted to give, who he should give that $100 to. And whenever he felt the nudge or felt God pointing to someone, he would just walk up to them and say, here, this is from God. I felt like God wanted me to give you this. And he would walk away. And 10 people from the mall got blessed that day because of his stewardship and setting this money aside. And those are the kinds of things that are so cool. So today's challenge to dig deeper is I want you to think about all the blessings that you have and ask God if there are any adjustments that you need to make financially so that those in need can be blessed from your blessings. And I know I've mentioned in past podcasts about, I think I mentioned it on the tithing day, but there's tithing and offering and then giving to the poor. And if you can set aside some of that finances, there was one point in our growing up years where I told the kids, okay, this is how much money we have in our offering bucket, and I want you to be eyes and ears out there in your community and say, Mom, I heard about this kid at school whose dad just left or whose car broke down. So I commissioned my kids to be the eyes and ears out there in the community. And every month at the end of the month when we had this money, or during the month, whenever, we would bless somebody. And so I'm encouraging you, ask God if there are any adjustments that you need to make financially so that those in need can be blessed by your good stewardship that you're setting aside. And, maybe if you have small children, put a glass bowl or some glass jar in the kitchen, and every time they walk to the store, have them watch the ground, and who knows, it's like never fails. You'll find a penny or a dime or a quarter on the ground, and we can pop that into our offering jar and see it grow. And then at the end of the month or at the end of the year or whatever, you go to the bank and see how much you have and give it away. All these blessings, of course, are above and beyond your tithe. Remember, I want you to keep track of, always making tithing your priority, but this is above and beyond. And so I want to commission you today to make a plan with your family. Make a plan to bless other people with your blessings and see what God will do through your life. I'm going to tell you one more example. My husband was in the military for, I think, 11 years, and he started at an older age, which is a whole nother story in and of itself. But he started at a later age, and there was one time where he was gone about 5 months, and he came back, and we met him on his way back. We met him at a restaurant. And, military people don't make a whole lot of money, right? And so we had lost his normal income for that long of time, and I was working in real estate still. But we sat down with the family, and this gentleman paid our whole entire bill. We were so floored. That's happened a couple of times. It's things like that you remember and that you instill inside of other people to pay it forward. So tonight in your journal, when you pull out your journal and you're reflecting on the conversations with your family, write down the adjustments that you made. In your plan to bless others from your increase, write down how it made you feel about helping others. Did you bless someone today, or do you have a plan set in place with your family to bless in the future? I look forward to hearing how you are blessed by blessing others. I hope that today's podcast inspired you to do more, because we are made for more. And if you don't have the devotional, then go to my show notes. There's my devotional link, as well as you can get the companion journal. And please go ahead and give me a review on Amazon. It's going to help me out a lot. And if you want to join the community, we have a Facebook group now. It's called Rinse, Reflect, Repeat Devotional. So have a wonderful day, and until tomorrow, keep rinsing, reflecting, and repeating. God bless you.